So much for being here. I'm so psyched. Um, there's a lot of people registered for this, and some of you are not going to be able to be with us live, and that's totally great. But you're here with us anyway in this container. So, yeah, this has been such a wonderful, delightful surprise. And this came in really quickly, as you might imagine, because very few of you got any warning. Um, And I've never done anything this short in my life, so hold on to your hats. Let's get going as soon as possible. Let's arrive together. Let's give ourselves a nice centering breath. Really feel the breath coming in and circulating around your heart and creating some space. And allow yourself to pull back your attention, just sort of reclaim it. Call it easefully and magnetically right back to you, right into the center of your head where your powerful, discerning, sovereign space is. You can leave a little briefcase outside with all the problems that you're solving for all of the people that you're solving them for. So really just allow yourselves to arrive, being present and being open. Thank you so much for your open hearts and your open minds for being here. And this offering that I'm giving today is happening on a few different levels. So today, and also if you go back to listen to the recording, or if you're joining us later, please feel free to hit pause if anything really hits you, and like allow it to sort of filter down, precipitate out, clarify as it would in your space, as you would see and feel it. So, yes, welcome to Frequency First, Creative Power and Peace of Mind in the New Now. So the new now is a really interesting time. And I was doing some digging this week and I really found that there's some wild, there's just some wild historical precedents for what's happening, just energetically, thematically. Um, so I just wanted to sort of review the state of the collective, like place where we find ourselves today. And I know a lot of you are coming from different, like we're all coming from different places. We're all having different experiences of this now. Some of us, our security is up in our grill and is feels really uncertain. Some of us are dealing with a lot of grief. There've been a lot of departures lately and a lot of loved ones moving on, and that can feel really heavy in our hearts. Some of us are just feeling incredibly uncertain, angry, um, really needing to do something. And we're definitely going to talk about that. That's one of the big things we're talking about today. Just to sort of to help the collective to like there's a lot of polarity that's sort of surfacing in the consciousness. There's a yes and a no, a right and a wrong that's coming up a lot. And we'll definitely get into that a little bit. But that polarity is a big part of the narrative that's keeping us separate from each other. And there's an African proverb I found again last night, and it was it's if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And that's really a pivotal point of where I believe that we are in our collective evolution today. And yeah, so everyone take what is most useful for you today, and feel free to just leave the rest. It can filter in later if you even if it could be helpful later. That happens to me all the time. Sometimes I'll hear somebody say something, I'll be like, what? And whether it's a month, a week, 10 years later, I'll be like, oh my God, I get it now. Like I don't. Um, so yeah, please take what's useful, move on with everything else. Um, and full disclosure here, there's not going to be any spiritual bypassing here. There's also not going to be any politics here. So you can really relax about that. We are humans. And those of you who are really seeking action and change are going to gain a little bit of context and clarity. Um, I think we're all seeking some action and efficiency as well. And those of us seeking peace and healing are really going to gain some compassion, personal power. Healing is always open for all of us, but there's going to be a lot coming through on that front today. So this is going to be a big kind of contextual adjustment for the energy of the times that we're in. So just a brief astrological primer, and this is not alarmist at all. And if you don't get astrology, don't even worry about it. But I think it's worthwhile to check in on all of the outer planets in the last year, and or it all finishes in April this year, have switched signs in the same year, basically, which I don't think has ever happened before in that small a window. So Uranus has an 84-year orbit. Um, and the last time it moved into Gemini, which is the last transition that'll happen in April, uh, yeah, some really interesting things happened. um, there is an incredible amount of explosive sort of civil energy and in the technological and communication space as well. So the last time Uranus was in Gemini was during World War II. And before that was the Civil War, the American Civil War, 1858. And before that was the Revolutionary War, 1774. So whether or not this means anything to any of you, I just think it's worthwhile to start to be like, oh, so that doesn't mean anything as far as like what actually happens now, but just to sort of paint the picture for you guys, like the kind of energy that we're in as a collective. There's a lot of like people sort of sitting up and collectively saying, wait a minute, what? Like, so this has happened, and that's just one of these planets, you guys. So this has happened before, and it's a very Uranus is a very sudden energy. It's a very, like right now, since it's just transitioning, there's a lot of volcanic activity, a lot of earthquake activity. There's a lot of solar flares because it's sort of exiting Taurus. So there's a lot of like planet level, like big energies happening. And what I'm seeing in nervous systems a lot is people are sort of getting thrown a little bit with all these solar flares and some of the bigger coronal mass ejections that are happening. And if you're not paying attention to like planetary frequencies, I don't blame you. You like whatever. But I'm noticing it in people, and some of us have been really tired that with we can't explain. Some of us have felt a little erratic and needed like way more of our normal grounding process to really help stabilize and regulate our nervous systems. And that's just like normal human stuff. Um, Briefly, again, we have Neptune, which just in January moved into Aries. And the last time that happened, this was a 168-year orbit for Neptune. So it's a slow mover. So the last time it moved into Aries was the day after the Civil War started, which again, just energy potential. It's not predictive in any way. So there's no alarmistness here. And Saturn, so interestingly, the last time it was in Aries was the dot-com boom. So Saturn has just a 30-year orbit. And so interesting, during that time, eBay, Amazon, Google, Priceline, all of them either were founded or went public. And it moved out of Aries in 2000 when the bubble burst. So it's just a really fascinating time. So there's a lot of potentiality, action, forward moving, collaboration, innovation is a big word for where we're going right now. So I just want you guys to sort of see that. Um, Coming up, so Saturn's moving into Aries on the 13th, which is not long from now. And then there's a huge conjunction happening on the 20th of this month, which hasn't happened since, I mean, the conjunction hasn't happened since 7000 BC, but it hasn't happened at 0 degrees of Aries in memory, like at least 12,000 years ago. I think people just stopped looking back after that point. So 0 degree of Aries is like the potentiality machine, like this just massive like opportunity that we haven't had in civilization's history. So it is a very exciting time. As messy as things feel, it's so ripe, so full of potential that yeah, I've been moved to open my mouth a little bit more lately. So it's just so exciting, as hard as it is, as hard as it's been. So and I think there's just one more really. I mean, Pluto into Aquarius is huge for sure. The last time Pluto transitioned was the financial crisis in 2008. So that's when it moved into Capricorn. And then it spent the next 16 years dismantling all of the power structures that had sort of really led to the crisis and had none of our best interests in mind. So Pluto is a really amazing sort of illuminator of things, secrets. It's the deep dark. So it has moved in, and it moved in all the way in November of this last year in 2025. So it was the first one to go fully, and then everybody else is joining. And it's just, we're in a big old party. It's kind of incredible. So I wanted to review, based on that sort of weather report, we have sort of like a little trifecta right now. So I've talked a little bit about the planetary energies that we're dealing with. As nervous systems, as humans, we're sort of getting pelted with these solar like upgrades, these imagine sort of like, it's not an EMP, but it, God forbid, it could be if it was big enough. But it's sort of like a little, these little sort of blasts, you know, like if you know anyone who has ever worked in an ER, regardless of whether or not there's like an astrological awareness there, they all know that on the full moon is like not, you just got to be ready for stuff in the ER on the full moon. Like it's just, and these are very intellectual, very left brain dominant people. And if the moon, which is closest to us but relatively tiny, can have that kind of effect on something as tangible as an ER, imagine what infinitely more massive, slower moving, but way more momentous planets can have on our nervous systems, let alone our actual sun. So there's solar flares, these quakes, these volcanoes. Paying attention to the Schumann resonance is really wonderful, because even though all of this stuff is happening, and there's so many opportunities for us to get knocked off of center, we continually are raising our vibe as a collective. So if you're ever losing hope, like we're just having a really rough moment, please feel free to really remember that, sort of come back to the power that we have together. And then culturally, we have all these events, obviously, that we were just talking about. And then personally, as I was saying, the grief, the loss. There's a lot of structures. The thing I've been saying for the last year and a half, since I really started looking at this energy, is there's a lot of cheese falling off of a lot of crackers right now. And those of us who are grieving loved ones, that's a very intimate, particular kind of grief and sort of weight to hold. But a lot of people are also grieving the loss of structures, because there's a lot of like policies and agencies and all kinds of things sort of like, I wouldn't say imploding, but they're changing. They're going to be changing a lot. So just being really aware of that. And security is a big one right now for a whole bunch of reasons, obviously. Um, so this is where we start. So, how are we doing here? So this really is about our frequency and our evolution. It's not about anything else. So um, there's no, my goal with sharing the weather report with you guys um, is simply to explain that you're not crazy and you're not good enough. You're not imagining things like all of this. There's a lot of shifting happening right now. So our practice collectively and individually, personally, is as important as it has ever been. So what I want to share with you today are three pillars to um, bring into mind and to practice with awareness on the daily, because it's the shortcut, the shortest cut I can find to really reclaiming our creative power. And we do that by really placing our frequency first. So David Bayer talks about this in his quantum mechanics training. Joe Dispenza popularized it even before then. Having a clear vision and an elevated emotion and a coherent heart are those sort of steps. And I'm giving you mine. So for this time in our moment, our collective moment. So pillar number one is awareness. And this is really about us acknowledging the commodification of our attention span. It's just never been greater. And um, there is a huge amount of, like, we all know at this point, I think, that because of said commodification, our attention is really our most precious asset. It's our highest value asset. One could argue time too, but they're sort of linked as you might imagine. So keep some amusement in your mind while we talk about this. So there's a huge energy being put into narratives that really don't serve our collective. And they're primarily, I group them into distraction, division, and programs that keep us feeling powerless. So grief, there's a really healthy, wonderful, beautiful place for grief. So I don't want to bypass that at all. But if you're constantly getting pelted with narratives of loss and powerlessness and not good enoughness, there can be a lot of shame and a lot of grief that accompany that programming. So I just want you to be aware of that. Anything that helps you feel powerless is something to kind of like, I have an alarm going off in my head, and I think I'm going to look at that again. Like, actually, I'm a powerful son of a gun, and I know that. So we're going to all remember that together today. So, again, with the loss of structures and security and even loved ones, anything that causes us to contract or be in fear or anger is really a lot of this disempowerment narrative going on. So being aware, for me, distraction has been huge. Even though I have my algorithms fairly well tailored, I don't have a child watching me on my phone, which would make me put it down way more often. And and I do run a couple of businesses through my phone, so that also doesn't help me. But I'm aware of when I get too distracted, and my awareness, if you guys can imagine, just have the visual model of us holding almost like a spinning top. You know, those little tops that you used to spin when you were a kid. When we're in our power and when we're grounded and centered, that top spins and it hums. And that's the place from which we can harmonize with each other and co-create this whole next age together. Anything that introduces a wobble, so any of the fear, any of the anger, any of the contraction, or like you're not safe unless you blah blah, like any of that stuff, you can just recognize that as this sort of like from this aware place and just decline it. because you're like, nah, I'm going to stay in my power seat. Thank you very much. And this is incredibly important. It's the first step to what we're talking about today. So, pillar number two is the power that becomes available when we are aware, right? When we're not being distracted and we're not being devised, like divided between ourselves. There's a lot of like us or them, a lot of this really binary programming in the mainstream media right now. And I mean, as we know, divide and conquer, right? If you really want to keep people looking the other way or forgetting how powerful they are as creators, that's a great uh, narrative to infuse everywhere. So what we're going to do without changing whatever our allegiances and our core values are our core values, you guys. That's not up for debate. But what we're declining is that sort of like a siphoning off of our vital energy. We're going to stay in the center. We're going to stay spinning as our powerful little humming tops. And the power that becomes available there is to, from the here and now, and to just really start declining those narratives. Any patterns that you notice of self-betrayal, whether they're in relationships, your health habits, any other habits you have that you can really think of. Like, I made some bad decisions a couple nights ago. I was having a really nice night and I should have gone to bed earlier, but I was really cozy and I didn't really want to move. And I don't know what happened to the next 3 hours, but I know it didn't hurt my state of mind because that's pretty high on my priority list. My frequency is really important, but did my health appreciate that? Probably not. And then we bring in forgiveness and amusement and whatever. So the stuff is really, really important. So the habits, the tech use, like all stuff like that. So being aware of the patterns and then the narratives. Anybody that really is division really looks like judgment, believe it or not. Like that's the core ingredient to division is separating ourselves from somebody else and making us different. And we're not separate. Pretty much anybody on this call is going to know that we're all connected and inextricably so. Which doesn't mean we can't practice beautiful boundaries, but it's not really true. So declining the patterns, declining the narratives, declining any catastrophizing, because it wobbles us, right? You can hear the news if you can hear the news like this, you know? Get me? Um, and then also declining the frequency sinkholes. I call these e-sinks, but they really are sinkholes. Like you're walking along the beach and everything's fine, and then like you don't know what happened, but your vibe just plummets. And whether those are, you know, people, relationships, your job, like a family member that might need a little boundary work, whatever it is, it drops your vibe. Anything that drops your vibe, instills fear, or closes your heart is something to just really be aware of. And you can be amused about it too. You're like, oh, that's a bunch of BS. Like, that's not me. I have a heart the size of the sun, blah, blah, blah. So, this really is about us replacing resistance with coherence because there's so much dynamic energy right now. And we're assimilating all of it in our nervous system. So, really, yeah, coherence and spinning tops allows for the harmonics, the harmony that we can create together moving forward. So the third pillar is creativity. So this is our creative power. Georgia O'Keeffe said, to create one's own world takes courage. And I totally agree with that. There are so many beautiful artistic quotes. One I heard this week was that really stopped me in my tracks. Oh my gosh, I'm totally forgetting who said it. No, I'll remember it. He was a poop disturbing author. He said an artist, a true artist never sees reality the way it is. If he did, he would cease to be an artist. And this really, and I'll put that in the recording, the source. This really stopped me because it's so easy for our attention to be diverted into what is happening, like what is currently here, that is pretty distracting, am I right? Like it can really be like, whoa, the economics of it, like all of that stuff. Um, and then as long as we keep our tops spinning, shifting, which is what we're doing today, into our vision, being really committed, discerning about seeing as the artist, right? In all of us, seeing what we would create together. So, not seeing things the way they are, but really holding to and empowering and adding fire to the vision that we hold, whether it's peace on earth, whether it's a beautiful community to build your next steps with, your chapter with your family, all of the things, your healing. Um, yeah. So, creativity, community, collaboration. Those are all this forward moving energy right now. So there's a huge swell coming through you guys. We're all on surfboards and like this is what I'm giving you to help us just catch the swell. And like it will take us so far. So this isn't about effort. It's not about judgment. It's really about our connectedness and our, I want to say stubborn, but it definitely implies resistance, our dogged uh, vision holding. So, two steps with creativity: frequency first, which is the name of this workshop, and then action from that dialed in place. So, depending on your constitution and your chart and your design and all that, how you work, action looks very different for different people. Frequency is really non-negotiable, which is why we're here. So authenticity really is the new currency, and it really comes down to the quality of our beingness. So we are human beings, not human doings. I got my little extra grounding cord. I'm outed. um, so self-acceptance, self-forgiveness, self-love, self-compassion are all really essential steps. And I could talk for an hour and a half on just this point. Is really, those are essential steps to authentic self-expression in the world. And as so much cheese falls off so many crackers around us, there is a huge opportunity for us to really embody who we are in the inside, our core values, and like not fear being seen or fear being heard. So these are huge pieces. And then from that clear, centered, spinning, potent awareness, we can then ask, what do I and my family need to sort of steady myself during this really dynamic time? And with spaciousness, right? With clarity that we give it space and we look at it from the now, from our humming. And the more authentically and the more grounded we are in our spin, the easier it's going to be to attract and call in allies, people with similar values who desire and have affinity for what we bring to the world. Um, Staying grounded, always a yes, for sure. Building communities, creating the architecture from a place of personal power as we move forward as a collective. So again, that's a lot, but it's huge. So we are human beings, not human doings. So we're going to be first, frequency first, and then we're going to do from there, from the center, from the spin, humming together. We're going to be like bees just rising up and like creating a whole new world. So, how are we doing here? Hey, half an hour, not bad. Okay. So if any of you with your cameras off are marching around doing dishes or laundry or anything while you're listening, this is the time to sit your butts down and really call your attention back into your body. And if you have training in these skills, please be open to the multiple level offering here and just swing for the fences. So let's place a hand on our heart and another hand on our belly, please. I want you to take 3 breaths in, really centering, imagining all of your energy converging, all of your conscious awareness, that beautiful inhabiting life force, centering right up in front of your spine. Your top is spinning, easeful, only now, only here. Mm. And I want you to imagine that whatever you're sitting on is actually an amazingly artful, 3D printed tree stump that has sort of been carved to exactly what your body needs, what your physicality, what your energy body, what your beingness requires for support and connection to the planet. And really imagine sitting there feeling unbelievably met and held by all the atoms that make up this beautiful planet. And I want you to imagine that tree stump reaches all the way down straight into the center of the earth. And if you're visual, awesome. It's your favorite tree. It's just a little bit wider than your hips, but it's so beautiful, so stable, so supportive, and so individually optimized for your structure, your hips, your butt, your low back. It just feels like you're sitting in a grounded pillow. Now that top is really spinning, you guys. It's awesome. And I want you to imagine from this beautiful grounded place, I want you to imagine a large basket in front of you, the kind that like 7, 8 people can get into, that is roped to a big air balloon. But the basket's sitting right on the floor in front of you or right on the ground if you're outside. And there are roses all over this basket. They are going to help us with their energy transporting and repurposing this. So as you breathe in, I want you to imagine breathing in sunshine. Each breath you're breathing in, whether or not you can see it, you know it's there if you've ever been in the air on a plane. Breathe it right in through your crown. You can breathe in some peace, some presence. Nice job. And what I want you to do is, as you breathe out, I want you to breathe out anything that's really bothering you, anything that's been heavy on your heart. So let's go ahead and exhale some fear, fear and all its cousins. Breathing in peace, peace and power. Let's breathe out grief and heartache for all the people suffering right now. Let's breathe out any shame that we've felt in the last little bit, any shame that comes up in our day-to-day that's just slowly accumulated. Ooh. And let's breathe out any blame, any blaming energy, any projection energy. We can breathe in some unity with our peacefulness. And we're going to breathe out judgment and division. That's a big one. We can take a few breaths there. And as you breathe out, all of this energy that you're breathing out is just accumulating in this basket, this lovely little waste basket. These beautiful roses are going to steward it for us. Breathing in and breathing out, that separateness, that feeling of isolation. Breathing in again, breathing out any guilt. If you're one of many I know whose lives are actually amazing right now, despite what's going on in the world, there's a lot of survivor's guilt happening. There's a lot of who am I to X when everybody else is Y? Really release that guilt, you guys. Joy is perhaps the most revolutionary act we have at hand. So really allow that guilt to depart and settle into that basket. Take a breath in. And let's breathe out some seriousness, some heaviness, some gravity. It's big energy. There are big things happening. And we are so much better able to navigate it from the here and now without added gravity, added compression, added responsibility energy. Breathe in some compassion. Let's breathe out some effort, please. Lots of effort, lots of grind, lots of anxious. Oh my God, I gotta hurry up and, oh my gosh, how do I figure out how to just exhale? Breathe in that peacefulness. Breathe out the effort. I'm gonna give you a couple minutes just to breathe out anything else that's coming up for you. Any kind of self-critical energy, any kind of lack of clarity, cloudiness, uncertainty, insecurity. Start breathing in vitality as you breathe out whatever it is that you are ready to let go of. Inhale into your crown, vital life force energy, and exhale. So anything that comes up as we continue, feel free to release it if it's something you don't want to hold on to. You're going to exhale it right into that collective basket sitting right in front of you. I want you to breathe in compassion, self-compassion and collective. Breathe it right in through your crown, circulating around your heart and going everywhere in your entire body. Then I want you to breathe in clarity energy directly from the sun. Your own vision, your own creative goals precipitating out with greater and greater clarity. Bring that in, circulate it around, and allow it to saturate your entire being. And breathe into your crown that oneness, the oneness of spirit, source, the vital energy, the prana that inhabits and vivifies each one of us. Bring in that oneness right from the sun directly into your crown. And really allow it to take up residence in all of your cells. We are one human family. Walking or rolling through a very dynamic time. Breathing out anything that comes up. It doesn't mean you're taking on anyone else's values at all. You're just acknowledging the flame within each of us, that namaste. And really allow it to saturate all of the cells in your being. And then breathe in some creativity, please. Oh, beautiful, divine, human, artistic capacity to be creative. Breathing it in and allowing it to really take up space in your body, in your mind, in your communications, in your relationships. Feeling stuck anywhere? Create a new way. Sit back and allow yourself to see things as they are not yet. Creativity is the foundation of all of that. Really breathe that in, allow it to go everywhere, saturating every cell and organ and tissue and system in your whole physical being. And bring in self-love, please. Deep, abiding self-love, unconditional. Breathe it in from the sun into your crown and feel it go everywhere. There's a lot coming up for a lot of you guys here. It's amazing how small we can feel when we forget these things. Really allow yourself to forgive, which is a huge part of loving. Forgive yourself for anything that's coming up. Forgive anyone else. And that opens the chute wide for that self-love to drop in. Breathe it right into your crown. Allow it to go everywhere, saturating every cell, tissue, organ, system in your whole being. So beautiful. Breathe in connection, please. Into your crown, going everywhere, so much ease. Just set the intentions. All of this energy is flooding. Coming in, rolling out the red carpet for you to experience this on the reg, on the daily. I'm going to clip this meditation out so you can just listen to this, and I'll make sure there's an audio as well. Whenever you need this, you can come back. And I'd recommend it. Did I mention these times are dynamic? Did I also mention the unbelievable power that each one of us has to create a new reality? Bring in some joy, please. Breathe in some joy. The revolution is founded on joy, connection, creativity. And that's what power really looks like. That's what we can do with awareness. And as you sit here, feel free to bring anything else in that you'd like. Breathe it right in from the sun into your crown. As you're really sitting here, spinning, humming, grounded, beautifully connected to the earth, authentically self-expressed in your own space. I want you to bring your vision into focus. Whether your vision is, again, peace, a more fair and just, equitable society, stronger communities, stronger food systems, stronger relationships, stronger families, healing, whole hearts, connection, peace, in being here in the now. That deep, unconditional love, whatever is your vision, really allow it to be energized. We're going to allow that big, beautiful air balloon to lift that basket filled with the troubles and the programming. I'm going to allow it to lift right up and out of your space and go off into the sky and be released and repurposed, transmuted. Now all that you see is your vision becoming more and more clear. And start shining more and more light onto it. Envision it being grounded in its own right. Envision that goal, that dream being supported by the planet and by the collective. Breathe in that peacefulness. Fill it with sunlight, with peace, with healing, community. And I want you guys to offer it. Offer it up to Source, whatever Supreme Being is for you. Even if you don't believe in one, this is a great time to just, you know what? What the heck? Offer that vision up. Allow it to be blessed. And now all of us together, as well as you guys who are following later, we're all going to send a beautiful, bright vision rocket up into the sky so it can come right back into our lived experience. And just remember how peaceful you feel, how powerful, how discerning, how clear. And allow yourself to be deeply self-accepting and accepting of others as well. All of you guys, anyone on here is very accepting of others, but right now, boy, oh boy. And to be quite clear, acceptance does not, that's not a baby in bathwater thing with boundaries. You can accept someone and still have a very solid, well-maintained boundary in place. The power that comes, the spinning top that comes from allowing someone else to be where they are cannot be overstated. So allow yourself, we're all going to get caught, like I'm going to get distracted next week and I'm going to come back. I'm going to laugh. I'm going to be with myself. I'm going to love myself. I'm going to do something really silly and goofy in the moment, probably outside. And then I'll come right back to myself and my vision and keep energizing. So really allow yourself your humanness. It's one of the aspects of our remarkable creative capacity. And let's breathe in one nice, big, vital breath right in through our crown. And reach our arms up overhead. Reach, 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 reach. And then come on down. When you can bend forward if you can. And just sort of reset. My puppy just gave a nice big grunted exhale. Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, you guys.